This is Radio Prague International coming to you from the Czech capital.
Hello and welcome. I'm Anna-Marie Regner and you're listening to Czechia in 30 minutes. Coming up on today's program, Euro Rando organizers preparing Stone Heart of Europe monument for 2026 hiking festival. Argentina above all, the most devoted fan of Messi and Maradona lives in the Czech countryside. Bohemia Jazz Fest 2026. Rudy Linka on music, freedom, and bringing world-class jazz to Czechia. All that coming up later, but first, here's the news brought to you by Ian Willoughby.
News.
Chinese officials say a Czech citizen detained in China is suspected of endangering state security, Reuters reported. The Czech news outlet Seznam Zprávy said on Wednesday that the Czech, who works in the business sector, was arrested late last month. Seznam Zprávy said the Czech security services believe China might seek to exchange the man for a Chinese propagandist in custody in Czechia on spying charges. The Czech man works with Eldis, a company that's part of the Czech arms giant CSG, Deník N reported. The European Commission has approved a Czech system of capacity mechanisms for the construction of new power generation sources, it said on Thursday. Under this system, the government is expected to guarantee investors, via state aid, at least the partial return on their investments in new power generation sources in the coming years. Establishing capacity mechanisms was one of the priorities of the Czech coalition government in the energy field. MP Jaroslav Foldina of the party Freedom and Direct Democracy is suspected of domestic violence and has been barred from the home he shares with his wife, Czech radio reported on Thursday. Mr. Foldina confirmed that he'd been placed under a restraining order for a period of 2 weeks, but denied any wrongdoing. Police also confiscated a number of firearms owned by the MP, who was first elected for the Social Democrats. In the past, he's been criticised for alleged links to the Russian nationalist motorbike club, the Night Wolves. MP Filip Turek of the Motorist Party will no longer participate in negotiations, official meetings or management consultations at the Ministry of the Environment, a ministry spokesperson said on Thursday. Mr. Turek has hitherto worked there as government representative for climate policy and the Green Deal, but has suspended this role in connection with the police investigation into a road traffic accident he was involved in. A coalition in central Prague between a jeep driven by Mr. Turek and a medical vehicle which flipped over, causing injury to the driver, has dominated headlines in Czechia this week. The MP says he will step down as government commissioner if found responsible for the crash. A 126-metre-high skyscraper with a design by Czech sculptor David Černý bringing to mind the wreck of a ship has received planning permission, a local official in Prague 13 said. The top tower in the district of Nové Butovice is said to be erected by the development company Trigema, with which Mr. Černý has worked before. It will feature around 250 apartments and include 44 floors, 7 of which will be underground. US singing star Diana Ross is set to perform in the Czech Republic for the first time this month. The concert will take place on July 29th at the Lochotín Amphitheatre in Pilsen as part of her In Motion tour, which includes 3 stops in Europe this year. The Czech vocal group Four Tenors will perform before the American star, a concert organizer said on Thursday. Diana Ross, who's 82, scored successes with the Supremes before a hugely successful solo career. The weather forecast, it should be mainly overcast in Czechia on Friday with an average high temperature of 28 degrees Celsius. The weekend is expected to see some sunshine and lower temperatures.
A new tourist landmark is taking shape near Boží dar in the Ore Mountains. The Stone Heart Monument, built to celebrate the international hiking festival Euro Rando 2026, is intended to symbolize the unity of European countries. Daniela Lazarova has the story.
Boží Dar, located on the Czech-German border in the Ore Mountains, is the highest situated town in Central Europe. A popular winter sports centre, Boží Dar, which translates as Gift of God, also attracts hikers and cyclists because in addition to beautiful countryside, it offers a string of accommodation and restaurant facilities along the well-kept hiking trails. It is therefore not surprising that the organisers of the International Hiking Festival Euro-Rando selected it as the ideal place for a monument that would not only serve as a reminder of the festival, but bring tourists to the region in the months and years to come. The monument has the form of a large steel heart embedded in the ground, much like a giant heart-shaped cookie cutter. To start off with, the stone heart will be lined with stones from the Ore Mountains, but the organisers hope that during the hiking festival, participants from around Europe will bring a symbolic contribution from their home region to the heart. Jan Kerner, Deputy Director of the Ore Mountains Tourism Agency, explains the idea behind it.
Inspirací pro kamenné srdce bylo Španělsko, kde při Eurorandu se slévaly vody z celé
The inspiration came from Spain, where during a previous Eurorando festival, waters from across Europe were brought together. We felt that stones represent the Ore Mountains better because of the region's strong mining tradition. At the center, there is a giant arrow driven into the heart of Europe. It bears the words Stone Heart of Europe in 4 languages.
Právě ve 4 jazycích je na něm napsáno Kamenné srdce Evropy.
So far, the heart has been filled only with local stones. Organisers hope that hikers from afar will soon change that.
Řekněme, když 3000 lidí přiveze každý kámen, takže já věřím, že se to srdce...
If, say, 3,000 people each bring a stone during the course of the Hikers Festival, the heart will soon fill up with stones from different parts of Europe to create a Stone Heart of Europe. The heart will remain here and hopefully encourage people to revisit this beautiful place with friends and family.
Do Krušných hor vrátili o rok, o 2 později s kamarády, s rodinou.
The monument's construction is being overseen by Anton Jurica.
Je to zamáčklý do louky a vyskládaný.
The heart is embedded in the terrain and set at an angle so it can be seen from a nearby cycling trail. We adjusted its position several times to find the best angle, and I think we got it right. It's visible from the main routes and should become quite a nice photo spot.
To je vidět z těch hlavních cest a bude to i docela pěkný photopoint.
Eurorando 2026 will take place on both the Czech and German sides of the Ore Mountains from September 20th to the 27th. It is expected to attract thousands of hikers from across Europe who will leave behind not only their footprints on the trails but also a symbolic stone in the heart of Europe.
Daniela Lazarová reporting. Miroslav Čurby Urbanec has a private football pitch in his garden. A statue of Maradona stands outside his house, and the facade of the family home is painted in the colors of Argentina. If Czechia were ever to face Argentina at the World Cup, the country's biggest Argentina fan says he would not hesitate for a second about which team to support. Romana Grajcerová has the story.
En el pueblo, en la plaza. Y ese es Montiel, somos todos Montiel, Gonzalo, vamos, Montiel al arco! Argentina, campeón del mundo!
Miroslav Urbanec had always loved football, but after Argentina's victory at the 1978 FIFA World Cup, when he was just 4 years old, he became a lifelong supporter of the South American champions.
Hele, já úplně miluju fotbal, miluju ho hrát, dívat se na něj, od jak živa.
I really love football. I love playing it, watching it. I always have. When I started, I must have been 4 or 5 years old. My father and my family were founding football teams here. They had always been interested in the sport. My dad is a Brazil fan because of Pelé, Socrates, and the whole generation of technically gifted players that he admired. But I chose Argentina. First, because they look like Winnetou. You know, Winnetou, the Native American character with the long hair. He was my childhood hero. And secondly, because they won the 1978 World Cup. For me, it was something completely incredible. That's where it all started, and it captured me forever.
Pak to vítězství a vlastně toho Kempese Takže tím jsem začal, úplně mě to strašně chytlo.
After returning from the last World Cup in Qatar, Miroslav Urbanec decided to take his passion for football to a whole new level. He had the entire facade of his house covered with a huge mural dedicated to the world champions, a tribute so extravagant that it probably does not even exist in Argentina itself.
Vlastně vybral jsem si nejlepšího našeho sprayera.
I chose the best graffiti artist we have, someone who really knows how to paint murals and makes a living doing it. The mural includes the assistant coaches, the goalkeeping coach, Pablo Aymar, whom I've always admired, Walter Samuel, and of course Scaloni, and the entire squad, including the substitutes. I'm always getting ideas and visions for things to do around the house. For example, there used to be a sort of swamp out back, so I had a Bombonera stadium built there. My own private football stadium, a small 5-a-side pitch where we can play.
Jako stadion, můj soukromý fotbalový, mini 5-na-5 tam můžeme hrát. No.
In addition to painting the facade of his house in the colors of the Argentine flag and adding a 3-meter sun that lights up at night thanks to LED lights, as well as building a miniature bombonera made with original strips of grass from Boca Stadium, illustrations of the club's greatest idols, and even a stand for 50 people, Miroslav also owns around 50 shirts from different Argentine clubs, numerous copies of the magazine El Gráfico, and rooms where he keeps countless posters of the two greatest footballers of all time, Diego Armando Maradona and Lionel Messi, along with shirts and photographs signed by other Argentine football stars. However, among this entire collection of football memorabilia, he has no hesitation in pointing out which item is the most important one for him.
Podepsanou fotku z Neapole Diego Armanda Maradony, kterou mě poslal kámoš z Holandska.
I have a signed photograph of Diego Armando Maradona from his time at Napoli. A Dutch friend of mine, Job, whom I knew through music, wrote to Napoli asking for a signed card from Maradona, and they sent him two. He kept them, and about 10 years ago he said to me, "Look, you're the biggest Maradona fan I know. You should have one." Just like that. So now I keep him in my office upstairs, and I look at it all the time.
Takže tu mám v kanceláři nahoře a na tu se furt dívám.
This football passion goes far beyond decorating his home. It has also influenced the names he chose for his children.
Můj prostřední syn se jmenuje Lionel a ten nejmenší
My middle son is named Lionel, and when our youngest was born, I actually begged my wife, even in the delivery room, "Please, let's name him Diego Armando." She was in labor and kept saying, "No, please no, it sounds too over the top, it just doesn't work." So his name is Quentin, after Tarantino, and Nicholas, after Sir Nicholas Winton, who saved more than 600 children during the Second World War. So I didn't get my way, but maybe one day one of my sons will have a child with that name.
Za druhý světový, takže to mě nevyšlo. No, tak třeba i nějaký moje dítě bude mít.
Indeed, he admits that his passion for Argentina and Boca Juniors consumes him to such an extent that he has almost no room left for any Czech club. The only exception, and the only Czech player Miroslav displays on his wall with a painting personally signed by him, is the legendary Antonín Panenka, whom he considers a little bit Argentine because of the way he took the penalty that secured Czechoslovakia's victory over Germany in the European Championship final.
Lidi se mě ptají, jestli bych chtěl potkat Messi, ale nechtěl, protože bych ho otravoval. Každý ho otravuje.
People ask me if I would like to meet Messi, but no, I would bother him. Everyone bothers him. What for? I'm happy to live in his era. Of course, I'm happy just watching him play, seeing that he is a normal, family-oriented person like me. I love that. I don't want to bother him. It would be vulgar. It wouldn't make sense. If he wanted to come to Prague and stop by here, that would be wonderful. But I wouldn't go looking for him.
Chtěl by se tady zastavit všechno možný. Skvělý, ale já bych sám jako to neinicioval.
That was Czechia's biggest Argentina fan, Miroslav Urbanec, speaking to Romana Grajcarova. A reminder you're with Radio Prague International, coming your way from the Czech capital. Before moving on to our feature story, we have a special announcement for our listeners.
This is Radio Prague, Czechoslovakia.
On the occasion of our 90th anniversary, Radio Prague International has decided to celebrate this milestone with you. Our voice has been broadcast to the world for 9 decades. Now it is time for your voice to be heard on our program. Tell us your story. Why do you listen to Radio Prague International? Since when have you known Radio Prague International, and what does Radio Prague International mean to you today? And last but not least, choose one story from our archive and tell us why it resonated with you. And how to participate? You can either send us an email at english@radio.cz with a recording answering the questions above, send us your phone number so we can call you and record your answers, or send us your answers in written form and we will read them for you. Your responses can be anonymous, or they can include your name if you wish. In any case, they will become a central part of our special broadcast culminating in August, the month when Radio Prague International was established in 1936. For 90 years, our station has been broadcasting stories of people, places and events that we believe would be valuable to you. Now, in these uncertain times, more than ever, it is your story that would be of value to us. Share it with us, share it with the world. The floor is yours.
For more than 2 decades, guitarist Rudy Linka has brought some of the world's finest jazz musicians to Czech town squares through Bohemia Jazz Fest. In an interview with Vít Bohanka, he looks back on his journey from communist Czechoslovakia to New York and explains why making great music accessible to everyone remains his life's mission.
It's not my idea, but I have to say that it's again New York City, which gave me this thing of knowing that it is amazing to see something fantastic and with other people, and it's for free. And the city, which is, as you know, so expensive. I mean, they charge you on every corner. You know, the apartment is expensive. Now even the taxi is expensive. Everything is expensive, and you pay all the time. The city has so much to offer in culture for free. And I remember, when we came to the city, so just around the corner from our apartment, there's a Damrosch Park, which is very close to Lincoln Center. And there, every summer, they had a jazz concert. And you would think that it would be, because, New York City has tons of really great jazz musicians, which you never heard of. But who was playing there? So that was Sonny Rollins was playing there. Or it was Roy Hargrove play there. It's like the people who are really on the highest level. And I somehow, even New York's Philharmonics play in every park, in every borough for free. And why? Because the city has a feeling that we all are paying taxes, and little portion of these taxes are going to New York Philharmonics. But not everybody can go and buy a ticket for $180. So that means that the Philharmonics have to go and play for people for free. And it is fantastic to see something like that, just that you can walk by and there is something amazing. I remember was it last year or year before, when the city kind of said like, oh, we have to do more culture for the New Yorkers because it's so expensive today. Even the Broadway shows, they're $200 per ticket. It's not really little money. And so they said, okay, we will do a rock concerts for New Yorkers. And who was the first one who played? Eagles.
Eagles, the Californian band, you mean?
The Californian band. Eagles? Come on. This is like, you really have the best playing somewhere for free for people. So that was how I got the idea that it would be great for Czech Republic. And why? Because the Czech Republic was, for 50 years, from 1938, when the Nazis came and after the communists came, they were really isolated. And I was thinking, that would be so fantastic that suddenly something which is really great. It's no question about it. It's the best. Will suddenly be available just for anybody who is walking by, and that's Bohemia Jazz Fest.
So, what sort of support did you get from Czech authorities, if any? I don't know. I mean, how did you go about organizing it?
Well, first I ask. After that, I beg, and after that, I say, if you don't do this, there will be a bomb which will explode underneath of you. And this approach actually didn't work so well. And it's so funny because the authorities which are in charge of this, and you would kind of guess that it would be, and they would really jump on it, and they will call me all the time and say like, so Rudy, what do we do next year? I mean, it's so fantastic. Well, and why do I say that? Because the idea is so simple. We have a concert in Prague, we have concert in Plzeň, we have concert in Hluboká, we have concert in Prachatice, we have concert in Brno. There was a moment when the festival was in 11 cities. And so you would kind of think, and there was articles written in Michelin Guide. There was articles written in New York Times. Several articles in Downbeat magazine, in Washington Post, the Süddeutsche Zeitung. And why? Because somebody just who was in Czech Republic from these writers just walked by and could not believe that this guy is playing here for free. And so they wrote the article. And you would think that maybe Czech tourism, which is a big office and they have offices all around the world, including New York, would say, well, this is a great event and we will support that. But the truth is, we get nothing from them. They don't promote the festival. That's nothing. Also, Ministry of Culture, we get nothing. And their excuse is that it's for free. So it's not fair to the other organizers of the concerts who are actually charging. So that's their explanation why it's nothing. And you can go like that, forever. And I think that, of course, it's quite a bit of corruption in Czech Republic. And if the corruption is in the main hospital here in Prague, in Motol, so why not to think that it will be also in Ministry of Culture? I mean, it's so naive to think about that. But so now to your question, how come that we are still here after 20 years? It's because there are so many supporters who really like the idea, and we have many small supporters, which is, we have many volunteers, we have many small supporters. We are putting very little money into that, and people who really kind of love music and love this idea, and they actually made this whole thing for us to be able to still be here.
Well, as you mentioned, I mean, this year, I think you pretty much named Pilsen, Prachatice, Hluboká, and Brno. Concerts are still free. So, who are you bringing around, and why should people be, what can people expect in those places?
Okay, so we started yesterday in Prague in the Royal Garden, and Charles Lloyd was playing. He's 88 years old, and I was so, I mean, huge name. He's probably one of the last legends who is real legend and really still plays around, and it was amazing how many people showed up. And also, when he came, so he said to me, and he played at the festival 10 years ago, but he forgot. And he said to me, so people bring their own chairs, or? And I said to him, no, Charles, I mean, they usually just stand. And he goes, really? And he was kind of like, oh my gosh, just standing, for 1 hour and a half. And it was even raining a little bit. And he started to play. I mean, the place was so quiet, and he played such a beautiful music, exactly like he always does. And the people were just so much into it, and he was really touched, and it was really amazing evening. And so today, Plzeň, we start 5:30. We have basically the same lineup, except at the end will be just Gerard Clayton, his trio. And Gerald is fantastic piano player. He is 41, so I always say he's such a young and talented guy. Well, 41, he's already accomplished a lot of things, and he will receive from us Bohemia Jazz Award. Now, who gets Bohemia Jazz Award? Bohemia Jazz Award gets artists who we want to that he will come back to Bohemia Jazz Fest. So Charles Lloyd 10 years ago got Bohemia Jazz Award. Yellow Jackets, they are playing in Prachatice and Hluboká, they got Bohemia Jazz Award, like 15 years ago. So now they are coming back. So Bohemia Jazz Award goes to Gerald Clayton this evening. As I mentioned, Yellow Jacket, we have on the poster this year, which is beautiful poster, we have a saxophone. And why? Because Charles Lloyd was playing and opening the festival yesterday. But with Yellow Jackets, it's Bob Mincer. Bob Mincer, fantastic saxophone player. I mean, amazing guy. Anybody who blows into anything knows that Bob is, one of the best musicians on the planet. And so he will be playing with Yellow Jackets. That's Prachatice. That's Friday the 17th, and Hluboká Saturday. And after that, we go to Brno. And we are 2 days in Brno. And in Brno, we have two bands from Slovakia. One is a drummer, Martin Valihora, which is supposed to be totally phenomenal. And I never met him. I never met the guy, but he lives in New York and, plays with a lot of really great people. So he's bringing his own band, his own trio.
That was Rudy Linka speaking to Vít Bohanka. And that story brings us to the end of today's broadcast. For more news and interesting stories, you can visit us on our website at www.radio.cz. I'm Anna-Marie Regner saying thank you for listening and goodbye.